What's going on, everybody? It is September 23rd. I cannot believe it's almost October. A lot of good baseball coming up. And obviously, that's kind of what we do. And if you don't know who we are Dugout Mugs. We are the crazy guys that turn baseball bat barrels into probably the coolest mug ever created, but we're a little partial. And we're here to talk a little bit of baseball. We're here to talk a little bit of bat mugs. And we're here to talk about a really cool product that a colleague of ours wanted to collaborate on, and not just any colleague, a 14-year big leaguer, all-star, gold glove winner, silver slugger, home run champion, and somebody I watched for a while as a Tampa Bay Rays fan, because we're right here in Central Florida. Carlos decided to launch a cool brand called PLAKATA. And you've probably heard him say it on MLB Network and other places as well. And I'm going to have him on tonight to talk about it. And then this really sweet mug that we collaborated with Carlos on. So Nate, if you're back there, let's bring Carlos on. Let's talk about a few things. What's up, man?
Hey guys, what's going on, Chris? All
right, Carlos Pena, welcome to the dugout, my man.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Chris. Really excited. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah, so you own a dugout mug.
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah, what do you think?
I have plenty of dugout mugs, and I love this product. I think it's incredibly innovative. It's so flat out cool, and my kids walk around with their mugs up and down the house all day long. So it's a favorite.
Dropping them on the floor and they never break. It's perfect. So you're in Jersey right now. You don't even have the mug on. You're traveling. You're actually cutting time out of like work stuff to rap with us tonight, right?
Yeah, I am in Jersey. I'm here at the MLB Network, and I had early shows today, so this worked out perfect. And I've been on a nice little tour because I was over there in Marquee Sports Network over there in Chicago for the first week, and now this is my second week here. Thankfully, my wife came with me on that first trip to Chicago, so
nice.
It makes it feel a little bit shorter. I can't wait to get back home. I miss my family.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got kids, right? You got 3 kids?
Yeah, I have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. These are treasures. We're truly blessed. They're amazing.
I mean, mine stay over my shoulder too, man. I got 2 little girls, so I feel you on that. But it is nice though. Like your wife got to go on you the trip. So I've been to Chicago. And in fact, my wife went with me on that trip. We hit we hit a Sox game. We went to Wrigley. We went into downtown and just hung out a lot. Like Chicago is a place where you can go do some fun stuff though.
Hey, Chris, I'll tell you this. Chicago might be number 1 of cities to visit, like in the whole entire major league. So I played in the National League as well, mostly in the American League. But looking around all the places I played at, Chicago was one of those places where I always looked forward to going. I even played for a season there. So whenever my wife can join me, and that is how I say, hey, you don't want to go to Chicago? Remember that's a pretty cool place. So she joined me there. The second one I would say, or right up there with Chicago, is Boston. That's another one
there as
of my favorite cities. I even played in Boston.
Yeah.
And I went to school in Boston. I went to high school in Boston, in that area. And then I would say Seattle. For some reason, Seattle was just absolutely gorgeous. That whole topography, the mountains. So those were my 3 favorite places to visit.
Well, are those your favorite stadiums to play in or just town?
Just the town. But I'll tell you what, in Chicago, especially when I played against the White Sox, when I was with your Detroit Tigers, I see you wearing that hat.
Yeah, man, I'm a Lakeland guy.
Man, I used to love going to Chicago because that was a great hitter's park, and I crushed there. I don't remember how many home runs I hit, but they were plenty. So it was always like a fun trip. Nice, beautiful city, and I crushed at that stadium. So perfect combination.
Dude, it's Wrigley. I mean, Wrigley, if that's, I was really excited when I got to go. MLB, they give us tickets and stuff, obviously being licensed with them. But when we went to Wrigley, it was awesome. It was really awesome. Just the whole atmosphere. So we're here talking about, and you don't have your PLAKATA mug with you, do you? Is it back home?
No, it's back home. Can you believe that?
No, I do. Because I know how it goes when you travel. You just try to remember like your clothes. But so Nate, if you're back there, show the mug, because I want Carlos to talk about, there it is. So PLAKATA. Most people have no clue what that means, and they shouldn't, because it's obviously something that you coined and came up with. And as you can see there on the backside, because it's a two-sided mug, it says "Crush the Now," right? And I think what's really cool about, and you and I had a couple good long conversations. And I think what's really neat about what you've done at this point is you've transcended past the game. Like, you were a hell of a player, right? 14 years in the bigs. I mean, like you said, you crushed, you did really well, and you're super blessed. And I know you feel the same way. But there's the next chapter, right? And you transcended past the game, and now it is, other than outside of MLB Network, it's influencing people, it's inspiring people, it's inspiring kids. Like, I know, and I want you to talk about PLAKATA and then kind of like what that means back in the day when you and your brother talked about it, and then also now, like, and what's happened since then.
Yeah, it's a fun story to share because it was just so organic. I mean, we would be out there playing baseball, playing stickball out in Dominican Republic. Then back when in Haverhill, Massachusetts, where we moved to when we came over to the States, and it would be so just natural for us to play in the background. We always try to hit home runs. We would hit balls off the house, and whenever we crushed the ball, it for some reason I'm like, yeah, PLAKATA, take that. Like, that's the way you do it, And boom, I crush. And we used to talk so much trash back and forth, And whenever we, beat one another, we would go, PLAKATA, like, take that, I just crushed you. Every time we hit a home run, we would go PLAKATA. Now, how does that happen? Why? Like, why that sound? I don't know. Sap, crash, boom. It's if you want to get technical about it, it's an onomatopoeia. It's just a sound that you try to put a word on it and try to describe it with a phrase. That's all it is. So PLAKATA, it's just the sound of victory. It's the sound of conquering something. I would go to school, get 100 on a test. I'd come home, grab it, show my dad. PLAKATA, Dad, there it is. 100 on my math test. So whatever we conquered, whatever we took care of, when we took care of business, we used to say PLAKATA. And this is what this whole entire thing is about. I was at the network, very calmly trying to do my show, and I'm watching the highlights, and totally in an organic form, someone hits a home run. Don't remember who it was, and I go PLAKATA, just like if I was a little kid, And that at the beginning when you do broadcasting, at first I'll tell you the truth, I was trying to be like super professional, like I was trying to be as a broadcaster, and I'm like, you know what, I need to relax, like be yourself, like just be you. So I dropped the PLAKATA, and I never stopped saying it ever since then. It was like 2014, the first time I said that. It was my first year with the network, and I never stopped saying it on air, and because that's me, And at the end of the day, this is precisely what it means. And yes, Chris, it does. That's the idea. Is to inspire people. At the end of the day, is to let them know that we can live our give our best right now, whatever.
Maximize their God-given talents.
That's it.
Right.
We say it's like, what's our mission? It's like, hey, let's strain that God-given potential that all of us have. Let's strain it until it cries for mercy, like until there's not even a drop left in it, And that way, we know that we are crushing the now, and that's where that slogan comes from. It's like, okay, where am I in this moment? Wherever we may find ourselves, right? In a difficult situation, or kind of like getting out of a difficult situation, wherever you're at, let's crush the now. Like, all that matters is let's do our best where we're at with what we have in the moment. And that's why, that slogan came about, the crush the now. I think it defines it pretty specifically what PLAKATA is all about.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I mean, with Dugout, like, Randall and myself, I don't think you've met Randall yet, but man, that's what we do. Like, we give it every single day. We're like, wow, I can't believe you guys grew that quick. It's like, no excuses, man. Like, we leave it all out there. He's an ex-baseball player, right? So a lot of the skills and the talents and the, just mindset of a player is just so cohesive with business, right? Which, and anyway, I feel you on what you're trying to say. And I think there's a shortage of people crushing the now, and they're doing, I hate to call it half-assed, but it is, and it can be, right? And
Yeah.
what we're trying to do is like, hey, get past that, and these little reminders. And like, if you can see my wall, I'm not gonna turn my computer because no, I'll knock everything over. But whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, right next to my face, right? And I want that there. And just like PLAKATA for you, and I mean anybody that gets this mug, they can't deny it. On the back it says "Crushed and Now." Basically, no more excuses, And
You want to go PLAKATA. You want to go PLAKATA in everything you do, Chris. And that's the idea. And if we can encourage each other, because that's the key. It's like, okay, we cannot do this alone. At the very least, it's not ideal to do it alone. And we can pull each other up.
It's almost impossible,
right? I mean, let's pull each other up.
Let's be honest.
It really is. When I look at my trajectory, and this is where all this stuff comes from. Like when I look at the trajectory, and you say, okay, here's this kid in Dominican Republic. I remember being out there in my neighborhood. I lived next to the stadium. Sometimes we would have these power outages that would be common around the capital at that time. That's a lot better now.
Domingo. You were San
Domingo. Now you rarely see that, but back in those days, you have power outages. But the stadium was lit up, and that stadium used to just light up the entire neighborhood. So you could almost see, almost like if you had a full moon. So that stadium became like an oasis, right? And I didn't visit that stadium until I was 4 years old or 3.5. And I'm telling you that when I walked up that ramp, with my dad holding me, we went up to the stadium and I saw that field. It truly was like the light at the end of the tunnel type thing. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. Look at this. And that awakened in me that love for the game of baseball. But what I'm going to tell you is that the odds were like so almost impossible. Like, how do you, from where I was to finally making it to the major leagues, if you think about that trajectory, there's many times where we're like, how in the world did that even happen? First of all, I don't deny that God's hand was in it the entire way. Secondly, I can look back and saying, wow, the attitude was crush it now, crush it now, crush it now, crush it now. It wasn't about talent. It was about crushing the now.
Yeah.
It wasn't about me being gifted. It's about crushing the now. So it was more about effort and discipline and faith more than anything else.
Yep. That grit, I mean, and not just me. I mean, you went from the DR to the States for a decade and a half, and that's just in the bigs. Like, we all know we don't all know, but a lot of people know that grind going through the minors, right? Oof. And then a decade and a half hanging out in the show is not, no joke. So yeah, I mean, the odds. I understand why you are as grateful as you are as often as you are when I talk to you, right? I get it. I get it.
Oh, the story is quite unbelievable, really. I mean, when we first got to this country, my dad left everything behind in the Dominican Republic, and my dad and mom, both my mom and dad, should say my parents, they were both professionals. We were well off in Dominican Republic. We lived in a very nice neighborhood. We have an awesome house. I had a beautiful childhood. But here comes the opportunity to come to the States as residents, right? So mom and dad had a decision to make, and they thought, look, we would broaden our kids' horizons if we move over to the States. They'll be able to go further in life, But what did that mean? They would have to leave behind their lives, their social life, their professional life, and then go in an adventure into a new country, new language, new culture, new everything, and leave all that they knew behind. So this is a crazy story to me because it's the story of how they placed our interests or our life before their interests. And that's how we ended up in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and going through high school there, the cultural shock, then trying to get into college. The story is crazy. I don't even know how much time we have, but it is one of those stories.
You got whatever, man. We're good.
I sit back and I'm like, are you serious? Chris, I'll tell you this story. This is nuts. Before I went to college, right, I'm getting my good grades in high school. I wanted to just be the best student I could possibly be. I knew that I had to seize the moment. I had to crush the now. And I tried to do the best I can to get my good grades. And here I want to go to university. I want to go to college. My dad and I, we sat there. My mom was helping us also, like an assembly line. We wrote 100 letters to all the Division I schools that we could possibly find. By the way, at that time, I had to go to the library and they got a big book of all the schools that were Division Ones. Find the coach, find the address. There was no internet like that back then where you can just plug in stuff so easily, or Instagram, or send a video digitally. That didn't exist.
It was like 2000, right? What you're talking about? It was like 2000, 2001?
That was 1996. See, you're making me feel old, Chris.
Yeah, well, I'm just guessing, right? Like, I'm trying to do the math backwards. I'm like, you got drafted in 09? No.
98.
98. Yeah, 99. I was looking at, okay.
Man,
wow.
Can you believe out of those 100 letters we wrote 100 letters. 3 schools wrote back. Out of 100, 3. And I'm like, well, I was happy because I'm like, I'm glad I wrote 100, because we just locked in on that number. Like, I'm going to write 100 letters, and it's a lot, so somebody has to write back. 3 wrote back, and it was Wright State University in Ohio. It was Tennessee Tech in Tennessee, and then it was Troy State in Alabama. And I ended up going to Wright State, then I ended up transferring to Northeastern, ended up in the Cape Cod miraculously. I win the MVP in the Cape Cod League with seemingly, miraculously as well. I got the opportunity to get the opportunity. That was a miracle. And then I was able to crush the now and seize that moment. And that's how I ended up getting drafted in the first round. But the whole entire story is like,
you're 10th overall, right?
What in the world? What in the world happened here?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that happened quick. Cool. Yeah. 09 was when you home run champ.
That's right. 09.
Yeah. And then 08, you played with the Rays in 08 when they didn't show out very well against the Phillies.
The World Series. I'm really proud of that year.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously in 2007, I had the best year I ever had in the major leagues. I went off, and that's another story that you might want to read about how in the world did I end up on that team. The hand of God was in there. Like, I don't hesitate to tell you, but I got in the team, and I got the opportunity, and I went off in 2007, but still the team was not good. We lost.
Tough years in there.
Goodness, that was tough. That was tough. But then I felt that something shifted. I remember going into Joe Maddon's office and into Andrew Friedman's
What a good
office.
dude, by the way.
Oof. Unbelievable.
Just a great guy.
Unbelievable. One of the best in the game, and the record shows it. But if you're behind the scenes, that's when he really shines.
Yeah.
Look, I went in there and told him, do not be discouraged. Seriously, after we lost, almost 100 games, there's something good going on here. Something good is happening. They looked at me like, oh, this guy's just a positive guy. This guy's just trying to be positive, like he's been all year positive.
You just walked in and yelled PLAKATA, right?
I'm telling you, we're going to do this. We went to the World Series the very next season, 2008. We came up short, but Chris, I believe that was the moment that the culture of the franchise changed. So the standard of excellence was set by that 2008 team, and I feel so proud to be, part of it.
Big part of that, yeah.
And I don't hesitate to say it. I mean, it's something that I'm very proud of. And look at what they're at right now, what they've done after.
Yeah. I took my daughter for her first game last night, or yesterday afternoon, to when they clinched. What do you think's going on in Tampa right now? They're calling it Champa Bay everywhere you look. With the Lightning, the Bucks, and the Rays. I mean, they're just keep coming.
Yeah, they are.
You got to be proud of that.
You 100%. And look here, around in the industry, because of the fact that I play for the Rays, they know that I don't hide the fact that I pull for the Rays. I'm not in that sense shy about saying I want the Rays to win. I know that I am a MLB Network analyst, but at the end of the day, I'm a fan first.
You're a fan of the game, yeah.
Yes, and you know what? I think fans that watch the network appreciate the fact that we're genuine. Like, these guys love the game of baseball.
Look at Poppy. He will never stop talking about the Red Sox, right? It's just what it is.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Yeah. You are passionate about this game. You have your favorites, and mine happens to be Tampa. I can analyze anything you want, but at the end of the day, my heart, there's a tug there, tugging that way towards Tampa. So they look good. I really like their chances, and look, they're approaching the record, right? And it seems like they're going to shatter that record of wins.
Yeah.
They're on pace to win 99 games. 99.
Well, I mean, I watch some of the guys. Who are some of your favorites on the team? Because I have mine, right? Brett, watching Brett, just so much fun playing the game. Shout out to him. That Baseball is Fun brand that he's launching. I love that idea. Joey Wendell.
Serena,
Well,
KK,
what do you think about like Joey Wendell? Like, I just love watching that dude play baseball.
He's a gamer.
What'd you say?
Gamer.
Big time. Yeah,
I love players like that. But isn't that the case with Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay is a team that is full of gamers. I love that about that team, is that it's truly a group. It's a team. There's not that one guy that you're like, oh, that's the superstar, and there's another superstar here and there.
Yeah,
I like the fact that everyone contributes, every single one.
Well, I love watching, Brandon and Austin. Love watching those guys. They're certainly top tier. But you're right. Any given night, it could be Brett, it could be Randy, it could Yandy Diaz, Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz. Have you seen Yandy in person?
Yes, he's a beast. Listen, man, I'm a big dude. I'm like 6 foot 280. I'm a big guy. And I'm just standing next to him like, excuse me. I'm sorry, sir.
I was so impressed. So impressed when I saw him. I'm like, did you play football?
Like, you know who scared me? So we've been at the winter meetings, every year for the last 5 years. We have a ton of fun. We do business everywhere with dugout mugs. We're very blessed as well, by the way. And so I was walking through and I'm watching all these players walk around with dugout mugs, right? You got Cash over here. You got then Giancarlo Stanton walked by. Oh my God. He's got a mug in his hand and I was going to take a picture. I was like, hey, Giancarlo, what's up? And he turned. That man is just huge,
right?
Huge. Just everything about him. He's like 6'5", 6'6", and just built like a maniac, like a wrestler.
Exactly. I call him an android.
Well, no wonder he hits the ball like he does. Line drives for 120 velo over dead center.
I was looking at these. We were doing a breakdown not too long ago, and the idea was he hit a ball. I think it was in Atlanta. What was it? He hit a line drive that was like 120 something miles per hour off the bat. And they're like, okay, let's analyze his swing. And I'm like, okay, here's his swing. But this is what I'm going to tell you. First thing, he is absolutely massive. So if he makes contact,
it's going somewhere fast.
It's gonna just explode off his bat. It's just a matter of physics. So forget about anyone even trying to match him. It's physically impossible to get to that level.
His mechanics, from what I can tell, aren't great.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like the perfect. You wouldn't teach a young kid to hit like that. But he is, 300 pounds, 6'6" or something like that. So when he actually connects, forget it.
Yeah, it's massive. So do you have any favorites? Any guys you just love watching play outside of the Rays?
Yeah, obviously Fernando Tatis Jr. is taking baseball.
He's electric.
He is just very electric. That's a great word to describe him. Hit his 40th home run last night. I'm not sure what he has done today. And that to me, I'm like, we shouldn't take that for granted. Number one, he's been hurt. So
he's been out for like 25 games or more. Right?
He has 40 home runs as a shortstop, because I'll tell you what, I hated that move when they moved him over to the outfield. I'm not with it. Leave the kid at shortstop. I know he wants to be like the greatest shortstop ever. At least that's his drive, why even mess with that? But that was impressive. So he's very exciting. Vlad Guerrero Jr. It's
one of my favorites.
Amazing. But you know what I absolutely love, and he's not we don't celebrate him enough. And I understand that his numbers are not inflated like the players we just mentioned. But Bo Bichette for the Blue Jays, I watched that kid play. I'm like, this guy is poetry in motion. Like, this kid is a stud, and I can't wait until he comes into his own, because he's
30 home or 26 or 7 home runs already.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's
not doing bad.
So but I think he's got dirty in him. Yeah.
Listen, I'm a huge fan. So I love the hobby, baseball card collecting, things like that. And I have a few PCs, and I'll tell you, Bo and Vladdy are at the top of that list. I love watching Bo play. I went to the game Friday night. It was against the Detroit. I wanted to see Miggy. Right, we got some things coming up with Miggy, and I just wanted to go there and see. And I'm a Detroit guy. Well, not a Detroit guy. I'm a fan because I live in Lakeland. But then Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday day, I had tickets to all three of the Jays games. So just I wanted to go watch Vladdy and Bo and Austin and Brandon do their thing too. But man, they can smoke the ball. And his swing, he's all coiled up like that. And he comes out like a rattlesnake and just rips the ball 450, 460 upper decks and stuff. It's crazy.
That is pretty cool.
He's a hell of a fielder too.
You talking about rattlesnake?
He's a good fielder too.
Oh yeah. He can pick it. He can pick it. He's a complete player. I like the fact that you said rattlesnake, snake. Mm-hmm. One of the things I utilize, one of the terms thought processes I try to teach kids to learn is that if you load and you think yourself like a cobra, like a snake, and you're able to coil, you utilize that word coil right before you strike, that is a great, you see young hitters never load. They just go like from a dead stop and then try to rush. When I see Bo Bichette, talk about a coiling like cobra that coils like this and then boom, strikes. I mean, that's the way it looks like. I mean, it's truly impressive.
Well, like Vladdy, I mean, he swings the bat and it's just scary, right? Because he's just so strong and compact. Bo's not. I mean, he's certainly built, right? But just you're right, man. The way he just coils up and unloads on the ball, every time he's at the plate, he can put one 460.
So he's one of my favorite to watch. Seriously,
I agree with you on that.
Goodness, what a ball player. So Toronto, man, Toronto is a dangerous team.
Yeah,
dangerous team. I know, if they get in, this is the thing with those teams that kind of like sneak in, they're fighting, and then they're in the postseason. Those teams come with this momentum and with this mentality that it's like, hey man, we weren't even supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And that mentality is dangerous.
Yeah.
And then you're super talented.
Well, and those are just two of the top guys. Simeon's over 40 home runs. That's no joke, right? And you got Kirk's not a bad. That new catcher they got. I've been watching him. And then Lourdes Gurriel, he's streaky, but man, real good. Really
good. That's another that Toronto Blue Jay team. If they keep that core, which I mean that's the idea.
Yeah,
they're going to be good for a while. And then how about Montoya? Let me tell you something about their manager. He used to be with the Rays. So Charlie to me, I mean, Charlie used to hit ground balls to me when I was with the Rays. Like, he was my ground ball guy. Like, he would grab the phone, go, hey, Charlie, let's go take some ground balls. And he would just hammer ground ball after ground ball. We take 50 out there every single day, spring training, during the season, whenever he was in Tampa. And to see him succeed like this, you have no idea how happy I am. He was the manager at Durham, for the AAA team of Tampa Bay for the Rays. And then he get the opportunity to go manage in the big leagues with Toronto Blue Jays. And now he's having success. I love those type of stories. That's going PLAKATA right there, Chris.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Resilient, grit, hard work, perseverance, and here's his reward. Just a few games away from getting to the postseason. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. And for anybody just joining us, we got off on a rant about baseball, but that happens like really every time. So I've jumped on with Pete Rose and Poppy and just all kinds of just amazing people have tons of stories about the game. We never only talk about what we're supposed to talk about because it's baseball and I get to do beer and baseball every day. So I'll certainly go down those rabbit holes with you. But for everybody, we're dugout mugs. We take baseball bats, we turn them into beer mugs or put anything in them you want, really. And we did a collaboration. I think Nate's back there. You can show the collaboration that we did with Carlos Pena. It's PLAKATA. It's his brand. It's his Crush the Now. It's his inspirational brand that's decades in the making, to be honest, right? Because this is something that you carried with you for a long time, and then it leaked out on the network, and it's something you've been saying ever since. And people and I don't think so. They've had commercials about it. This is not, they've been a lot of people talking a lot of good things about this too. And we wanted to jump on with you. One, we love to do the collab. We love working with players all the time. And this was one of those things where, hey, let's get on, let's tell people about it firsthand so they can learn about it, what PLAKATA means to you. And there's a lot of kids out there. And having something like that, people buy our mugs for kids all the time. So why not get them something that has a very inspirational message? There's not enough of that in this world right now. Inspiring kids and inspiring people in general. It's quite the opposite, unfortunately. So maybe if you're going to get a kid a mug, get him a PLAKATA mug, right?
Yes.
Crush the now. You got to teach them young, baby.
Right frame of mind.
Got to teach them young.
Right from my mind, Chris. I mean, this is a very challenging world, and doesn't matter who you are. Somewhere along the line, you will be challenged.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line of your growing up, you're going to have to, take some hits, and you're going to have to be able to fight back. So the sooner young children learn that resiliency, that grit, that hard work, self-discipline, certainly faith, are things that you need. Those are pillars in order for you to go after your dreams, and accomplish and really fulfill your potential. The sooner you can learn that, the better, and it starts right now. And if you can bottle that, or you can just coin all that into one word, PLAKATA. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it means.
Yeah. Well, there's a huge, you said something a second ago. There's a huge gap between just surviving and thriving, right? I've been very fortunate to be on the latter end of that because I've had a lot of good mental conditioning from a lot of good people, starting with my parents and all through, the last probably 25 years of my life. And I think that's why I love the message of what you're doing, is because I think starting at any age, but especially starting young, and getting people's mind right, because without that, this is going to be a long ride that you're not going to enjoy, right? So let's get them figuring it out early. Crush it. No excuses. Grit, hard work. Let's go.
No doubt. You know what, Chris? When I was in college, and I knew that I was already, I wouldn't say borrowed time, but what I mean by that is that you never take it for granted, right? I didn't take it for granted that I was over there in Northeastern University in Boston. I didn't take it for granted. So I knew that, okay, this is the time now. I cannot waste it. Get it done now. You're here. So crush the now. So my teammates, great group of kids, the group of guys, the young people at the time, I know that there were parties out there in college. What I used to do? I used to think, yeah, go ahead. They can go to parties. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to bed, because tomorrow I have a game. And while I'm pretty sure the pitcher I'm going to face tomorrow, it's probably going to be at the party, which is good, because that means I'm going to be rested. He won't be. And I used to have that type of mentality. It was crazy, because I'm looking back at that young Carlos. I'm like, man, I was really driven.
That mentality is a rarity. That mentality is a rarity.
I was out of control, man. I'm glad. I'm happy I was like that. And I remember setting my alarm at 5 a.m. because I knew no one in college, that plays baseball. And I made sure that I was like, no one's going to work as hard as I do. Like, there's one thing. Some are going to be more talented than me, I know. But I dare someone to be as nuts about preparation as I am. So I would set the alarm at 5 a.m. And I remember the alarm, it was kind of an alarm. It was basically cassette into the radio, all right, a cassette.
Yeah.
And,
oh, wow.
And I would set the time. I would set the timer, and it was Biggie Smalls. It was all a dream. I used to read Warner Magazine. That's how I woke up every morning at 5 a.m.
Nice.
Wake up, go to the gym. By the time I was done with my workout.
That was the CD with the little baby on it, right? If I remember
it was a CD. Yeah, that's right.
Look, now everybody knows how old we are. You see that?
Yeah, we just showed our age.
That's funny. The cassette into the CD player. That's classic, dude.
Yeah, man.
Well, listen, man. Listen, I know you're up in New Jersey. I know you got work. You got probably more to do tomorrow. So, you blew a 35 minutes with us. I couldn't be more grateful, man. I love your personality. It reminds me of Nick Swisher. I had a good talk with him the other day, and dude's just on fire.
Man, Swisher's the man.
Right? Is he not fun? Like that dude's next level. So, Nick, if you're watching this, dude, you're awesome. We love you.
Your boy Swish.
Yeah. So, but just like that kind of energy, but specifically taking it and using it for good. The platform has changed a little bit, but he still got that same message, man. And I don't think there's enough of that. So I appreciate you for being one of the good guys. And I appreciate you for spending some time with us. And I appreciate you for letting us help you bring PLAKATA to the people a little bit, man. We're going to share this with our group. I know you'll do the same. And, glad to have you in the dugout, brother.
Yeah, we're doing this together, man. We're doing this together, and we're going to pull each other up. That's what it's all about. Let's crush it out, and let's go PLAKATA every single day. That's it. Thank you for having me, man.
All right, dude. Absolutely, man. Nate, we'll sign it off, brother.